this episode of My Cat's Tale, let's meet Eric.
Helen's always had this phrase, she's got a cat-shaped hole in her heart. We enticed him out with some chicken, and then ever since then his mouth hasn't stopped. He's the friendliest little furball you could imagine.
Joining me now on My Cat's Tale is Paul, and he's here to tell us the tale of Eric. Welcome to the show, Paul.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me and Eric on the show. Very pleased to be talking to you today.
Tale seems just like a little bit less because twitter.com/Eric's Escapades just seems to give him just this more grandiose gentleman adventurer character.
Well, my partner, Helen, she's a writer, author, and she's the creative one. So I think she came up with that tagline or whatever you call it, handle for Twitter and Instagram. So yeah, it's quite catchy, and we kind of capture Eric's escapade stories, day-to-day life within Twitter and Instagram. And it's been going for, well, since we got Eric a couple of years ago. So yeah, it's kind of turned into a hobby. I didn't realize it would take up so much time and energy, but yeah, I think Eric loves it as well because he's a little poser.
Well, so tell me his last escapade then.
Oh God, I mean, if I was to speak about one in particular, my partner Helen, she works from home and she uses a lot of Zoom calls and video meetings, if you like. And there's a lot of time when he'll quite recently just all of a sudden jump on the laptop and spread himself across the keyboard on the laptop. So this just happened last night actually, and she was working. Somehow his paw just seemed to land on the escape button on the keyboard, which resulted in the screen going haywire, and she lost whatever she was doing at the time, which she could recover. But he's attracted to keyboards and computers, and in the webcam, there will be a point where he comes up on this screen, I'm sure, and you'll see his bum hole. So apologies to you for that in advance.
And everybody, that's why we leave this as an audio podcast, much as I have some great views of cats while recording. Sometimes they're not the most photogenic side of the cat, shall we say?
Absolutely not. He's got a lovely face, lovely posture, lovely little legs, big heart, but his bum hole is not the prettiest sight you want to see on your screen.
For some reason, I've not seen that on his social media, Paul.
There's time, yes. Maybe at some point we can put that up. I'm not sure if we get taken down, to be honest. I'm not sure how graphic Twitter or Instagram allows for these images to be put up, but I suppose we could try one maybe and just see what happens.
So his social media, he is incredible. I mean, I say he is incredibly prolific. As a household, you're incredibly prolific with his pictures and his ventures online.
Absolutely. It started off as a joint venture, and I think it kind of it became more and more my role within the household. So Helen, my partner, she's very busy with her work. Right, I am as well, but I seem to have more time to be able to sort of get these pictures online and interact with other cats and other humans, or humans as the cat world calls them. So yeah, it's my role to capture images on a daily basis. It started off where he was sort of putting 2 or 3, sometimes 4 posts a day when it was all new and exciting, and it's now down to I think 1 post a day, which captures the highlight of the day, or sort of what he's planning to do that day, let's just say.
Have you got an emergency picture just in case there's one day where he just goes and hides?
Oh, God, yes, absolutely. My phone is, I must have 2,000 images of Eric on there. Now and again, there's a time when, you see he could be out and about on his little patrol in the garden, head watch, whatever. So, yeah, now and again, or if he's sleeping all day, there can be a time when that. So we have got a back catalogue, if you like, of images which we can go to use for that day and make a little story to go along with it, what he's been up to. Yeah,
I can't decide if you deliberately sideswipe the catalogue pun going on there.
Catalogue, yes, indeed. That's a new one. I haven't used that one yet. So yeah, that could be one for the future as well. Definitely, a couple of good ideas there. Yeah.
So take me back to when you first met Eric.
Well, me personally, I've never been a cat person. Helen and her family, they've all had cats all their life. I've never been without a cat in their household. So. The idea of getting a cat for me, I was never sort of mega keen. Helen's last cat passed away 8, 9 years ago. I'm not sure exactly. So it took a while for Helen to want a cat again, because you build that bond, look, as you know, with any animal, dog, cat, any household pet. And it took a while for Helen to want the pet again. So it got to, it was during COVID. We used to have holidays, 2-3 holidays a year. We're lucky to be in that position to do so. And we found ourselves at a point where we just felt, okay, now's the right time to get the cat. And Helen's always had this phrase, she's got a cat-shaped hole in her heart. She's said that a number of times over the years. So it's been a good amount of years where we thought, right, okay, let's go for it. And Helen has got so much love to give, and getting a cat was something which we were talked about extensively a lot. So we didn't want to go and buy a cat. We liked the idea of a rescue cat. We wanted to give a cat who'd started off in its early part of its life, maybe not as well as others. So Helen contacted a local cat charity, I suppose, and they supplied Helen with a number of photographs of the cats they had. It was about 20, I think, under their control, where they take cats in from the street. So they get them handed to, if they've got microchips and all that type of stuff. So Helen got the images, and as soon as she'd seen the pictures of little Eric, she fell in love straight away. We went round together and got Eric. At the time, his name wasn't Eric, it was actually Teddy. We guessed he was about 12 months old, maybe. So he was very, very small. He's always had little legs. His legs have never grown since we've got him that day. So we picked him up from the place and brought him home. And, like you'd imagine, he was very nervous. He'd been around 20 cats in this house and dogs. And he came into our house, and he was quite timid to start with. And he took about an hour to sort of come out of his shell a little bit. So he was tucked away in the corner of the living room under a blanket, and we enticed him out with some chicken. And then ever since then, his mouth hasn't stopped, and he's settled in nicely. We've had him for just over 2 years now. And we've never looked back. It's been one of the best decisions we've ever made, is bringing in this love furball that we just, we call him our son because we don't have children through choice. And we call Eric our son. And he's just an absolute dream to have around the house. He's really made the house complete. I think, before we didn't feel that it was, we've got lots of love to give, and, just having Eric around, it was just that sort of missing piece of the puzzle, I suppose, which it's worked out well.
So does that mean that you had a cat-shaped hole that you didn't know about?
Yes, I suppose, yes. Or I suppose mine wasn't animals. So I've always been animals. So I love animals. I've had dogs in my previous, when I was younger. And yes, definitely I had the cat-shaped hole in my heart as well, I think. Helen did have a cat when we first met, Holly, who passed away. But, he was an old boy. He was maybe 20 or so. So I had a year or two with him, and I liked him, but he was vicious. He wasn't friendly at all. He was very hard to bond with. He would bite you quite happily, and there'd be times when I'd be stood in the toilet, he'd come along and just bite the back of my ankle for no reason, which Helen used to find quite funny. I don't know if it was because he was protective over Helen when we first got together, but Eric is completely opposite. He's an absolute love boat, and he's the friendliest little furball you could imagine.
When did you know? When was that moment with Eric when you went, oh yeah, we're bonded?
Oh, I've still got the photograph. So the first night we had him, we got him out, and Helen was on the floor with him, playing with him, and then I was on the sofa, like, watching, taking a few pictures, and he just jumped up on the sofa, he was on my knee, and just curled up. And like I said, I love animals so much, and just having that contact with the animal again, which I hadn't had for so long, I just knew from that moment that he was the missing piece, and I just fell in love with him that night, and we both did massively, and can't imagine life without him now.
So for all three of you, it was almost instantaneous.
Absolutely instantaneous, completely. We are a little family. He is daddy's boy, which I think annoys Helen a little bit, because obviously we got the cat, we got Eric for Helen because she was the one that wanted the cat so much. But yeah, massively, he is daddy's boy. We go to sit on Helen's knee, but if we're on the sofa, when he jumps up, it'll be my knee he comes to. Or if I walk in the room and Eric's on her knee, he'll quite happily just jump off her knee and come and sit on my knee. Maybe I've got chunkier thighs. I don't know what it is, but he certainly prefers myself. And we've got a role, like any sort of cat owner, dog owner, you do take up that role, or with children as well, I suppose. And we do have roles in the house. So my role is the good cop, we've got the good cop, bad cop thing going on. I don't like telling Eric off. I'm a bit of a softie in that way, whereas Helen's had cats, so she's quite happy to shout at Eric. But the amount of time I try to tell Eric off is it's not very often at all. He is such a well-behaved cat. So yeah, we've got that role where I'm the good cop and Helen's the bad cop when the time is required. Yeah. We don't. I think during COVID, Helen spent a lot more time with Eric, and I had to go to work during the day. So maybe he had that time. Maybe he got sick of Helen during the day. I don't know. Maybe me coming in at night time. He just started to get excited about me coming in, and but yeah, during COVID, Helen looked after Eric during the day and spent most time with him. And then when I came in on night time, he'd be quite keen to see me. Let's say.
And how's life changed outside of COVID? Because COVID kind of changed everybody's timetable. Everybody's obviously spent a lot more time at home, and routine is very important to a lot of people there, and to cats especially. How's that changed now the world has opened up a little bit more?
Well, for us, massively so. I mean, Helen, my job hasn't changed. I'm classed as a key worker. I still go to work. But for as Helen goes, her job and career path has massively changed. She was in a very, I'm not going to use it stressful, but a very high pressure job, which she'd been involved with for 20 years. So it got to a point where during COVID and coming out of COVID, she wanted to reassess her life and the direction it was going. And she resigned from a very a good job, well-paid job, to become an author, which is kind of how we got involved with. I mean, Eric's got some publications where Helen's wrote stories about Eric, and it's gone into print, 3 or 4 of those. So Helen is now a full-time author, and like I say, Helen, she just finished writing a fiction book, and it's the first time she's been able to base a character on Eric in the book. She's sort of enjoyed doing that. So yeah, it has changed us massively. Helen's continued to work from home, but she goes out every now and again to work when she needs to for presentations or meetings or what have you. But yeah, yeah.
And how's Eric's life changed?
Eric's life changed because of COVID. I wouldn't say it has massively. I mean, he still gets so much contact from Helen, because Helen is in the house majority of the time. Myself, I'm in the house the same time on evenings and weekends. So outside of COVID, no. The only thing I suppose we could change, or you could say because of it, now we can go on holiday. I would say because of that, Eric is now having to get used to us going away for a period of time. It might just be a few nights, it might be for a couple of weeks, but we try not to go away for more than 10 or 11 nights. That's our absolute maximum, because we have family who help us massively. So they'll move into the house. Helen's niece will move into the house, and our grandma, and they'll stay here and look after Eric. And if we didn't have that, I don't think we could go away on holiday, because we could. I wouldn't never want to put him in a cattery. I wouldn't trust him just sort of saying to himself. He's one of these animals who demands attention and is needy. However, that is because of the way we brought him up over the 2 years. We have mothered him and sort of tended to his needs whenever he's demanded them. So it's kind of it's our prop that we've created in Eric. So when we go on holiday, we have to ask family members to move into the house, and we leave a book. So we called it a Bible, Eric's Bible, and it's basically a 10, 12-page dossier of his rituals and his routines, and sort of how to look after him. Even though Helen's family are all cat people, they've all had cats, Eric is no ordinary cat, and he needs his routine sort of followed quite strictly.
So you talk about a strict routine there. This isn't just, I get fed roundabout, now I get...
No.
It's much more detailed than that?
And it starts from the morning we wake up. So I'm always the first one up for work. So the routine starts 7 o'clock, get up. He's on the landing at the top of the stairs. What we have to do, I don't know how this started, but you've got to get down to the landing with him. And I have a dressing gown, which I put over myself, and then he crawls into the dressing gown. We spend anything from 2 minutes to 10 minutes, he's just purring away, lying on his back, rubbing his belly, giving him little head kisses. This all sounds really pathetic, and I'm not sure if people do this or not, but we've done this for so long now. It's kind of, if I was to just walk out of my bedroom downstairs, he would be like, what is going on here? Where is my morning routine? Where's my morning snuggle? So that's where it starts. That's the first routine. task which I have to complete. On a weekend, Helen tries to do it because obviously Monday to Friday I'm doing it. So it's nice for Helen to have that time with Eric because he just loves it so much and he's so affectionate and he just purrs as soon as he opens the door. Sometimes even I'll open the bedroom door because the bedroom is the only room which he can't get into. So he's got full run of the house. So the bedroom is the one area which is locked off from him. So as soon as he opens the bedroom door, I don't know how, but all four of his paws end up in your room before you've even opened the door properly. He seems to like just sort of walk through the door somehow. So he ends up running out and then we on the landing for up to 10 minutes. So that's the first one. And then we'll go downstairs, straight at the back door. And then he's like sat by his football, wanting that, topped up straight away. And then as soon as I do that, then he's out the door and he's doing what he does outside. And he never goes out for very long. So I know some cats can go out for hours on end, but Eric seems to, he's an indoor-outdoor cat, but he's a home bird, he's a home cat. He likes to be in the house a lot. So he'll go out and do his business and come back in after sort of 10 or 20 minutes, sometimes half an hour. And then routines after that. And so during the day, he's obviously got routines with Helen, but when I come in, he's always on the stairs waiting for us. He hears a car and he's making it's a racket here. He makes a noise, he's very, very vocal. Like he makes the cat noises he makes is really funny. You can hear him from the other end of the house or the garden or down the street sometimes. He's just the most vocal little furball you could imagine. Then at night time, the routines he has, on the sofa, if we're on the sofa watching TV, he's always on the sofa with us. He loves to lie on his back and have his belly rubbed, which is a good sign because obviously I think some animals don't like that. So it's a sign of trust and a sign he loves us so much. So we have that time on the sofa. And then the nighttime routine is the one which we've just, again, similar to the morning one. As soon as the TV goes off, he knows it's bedtime. So he's out the door, runs straight up the stairs. We follow him up, and then in one of the changing rooms, in the spare rooms we have, these Dreamies, little tub. So he'll go to sit next to them, knowing it's Dreamy time. So he gets, a handful of Dreamies fed to him. We've got to hand feed them, so we can't just put them on the carpet. We've got to hand feed them these Dreamies one at a time. And again, this is just one of their routines that we've started, and it's every night. We hand feed them these Dreamies. I'm not sure what would happen again if we just threw them on the floor. I don't know how we'd react. So it's ridiculous what we've done for him. And then a routine. Then so that's been going for 2 years, and one which we've kind of added into the routine. I don't know. I think Helen started this one. She started leaving 2 or 3 Dreamies outside of his little bed, and it's kind of now when he's finished the Dreamies in the main room, he'll then tot off into his bedroom, eat his 3 Dreamies just left, and then jump into bed. So this whole routine which we've got in place, which is escalated to the point of no return now. We can't stop doing it.
But that sort of routine, that sort of familiarity, you see that throughout relationships in life, and not just between pets and humans, but between humans and humans, between animals and animals. Repetition is seen by many as trust and as love and as safety.
Yes, it definitely is. They're just the no ones that spring to mind. He's got so many probably other routines which I suppose everyone does with all their animals. You kind of just do it of habits a lot of the time, and you don't even think about it. He gets brushed twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week in the summer, and that's one of his routines where we keep the mitts, the gloves where they've got the little spikes on. So he goes mad for these. So we keep him in a drawer in the conservatory, and he knows exactly where they are. So he'll go and sit next to the drawer and wait, and he'll start making his little noise, his little squeaky noise. So you get these gloves out, and then as soon as you get them out, he just starts jumping up at you because he just loves them so much. And then we're in the garden, and then we've got to run down the bottom of the garden. Well, he runs down the bottom of the garden because there's a part of the garden he has to be brushed. You'll not be brushed anywhere else. So you've got to go down to the bottom of the garden. From there's these pavement slabs, and he's got this habit of sort of slamming his little body down, and his head almost hits the ground like a thud. And you can just sort of take it easy, and then you spend it could be 20 minutes, it could be 10 minutes brushing him, and he just purrs constantly at that. And again, that's just one of those routines which has happened and we can't get rid of.
Do you know much about his life before you rescued him?
No, so the location we live, he was found on the streets very close to where we live. and we don't even know how he ended up in this cat. I don't know what it's called. A sanctuary. It's a local charity who took in stray cats, cats that were found on side of roads. So we don't know nothing about it, to be honest. We know that in the house where he was living for a short period of time, there was lots of cats. There was 20 cats. There was dogs there. He was always very sociable with them, and he's a very, very friendly cat. There's other cats in the street here who you can see him trying to make friends and trying to get on with them. They're not the friendliest bunch in our street, these cats. So no, we don't know nothing about Eric, or aka Teddy, his life before we got him. We know we had cat flu. He nearly died, actually. So we got him when he was about 12 months old, and the person who had him said she thought she would have lost him a couple of times because he had cat flu 2 or 3 times, to the point where it was really, really close and to him losing his life. And it affects him today still, because his eyes can be quite watery. And we think that's down to these early problems with cat flu. We monitor it, and I've rang the vets up even to discuss, and she said unless he's visibly in pain, or there's like yellow coming out of his eyes, as long as there's tears, could be blocked tear ducts. We've took advice off the vets that just to sort of monitor it, and it comes and goes. So it's that's the only thing which we kind of worry about with Eric, I think. Regarding that, but yeah, that's probably from his early life of having cat flu, I think.
So it's almost like when he arrived in your house, all 3 of you clicked, and he was just like, you know what, this is the start of my life. Let's forget about the year beforehand.
Absolutely. I mean, he's the king of this house. We to his every need. He's not wanted for nothing. He gets everything he asks for, and he's just the way he's sort of slouched on the sofa, and he has. I mean, how many beds? He must have about 4 or 5 different beds around the house and in the garage. So he changes as the seasons. So there's like a cocoon bed, which he likes for the winter. Helen's got like ripped up pillow blankets in there, so he sleeps on that. It's a very warm environment for him. We've got this box, which it was a Karsha box, which obviously cats love boxes, and this box is a perfect fit for him. So we've padded it out with loads of blankets, knitted blankets, which Helen's mum has made for him. So he's got that box. And I've cut out, it's going to sound pathetic, I've cut out loads of pictures of him that we've printed off, and it's got Eric's bed or Eric's box, I think, on the box, which is on social media as well, on his so which people seem to like. He's got he started just sleeping on the carpet underneath Helen's dressing table, and he's in the summer, I think it was. We just felt sorry for him sleeping on the carpet. It was probably fine, but so we put a pillow underneath there, so that tends to be used maybe 40-50% of the time, I think, just on this pillow. And then obviously, outside we've got a box in the garage which goes in the summer. We've got a hot tub at the bottom of the garden, which he spends a lot of time on. But again, it's just us being so soft that we've got these cushions for the outdoor sofa, which we put on top of the hot tub to make sure he's padded, because he spends a lot of time on there, looking out over the garden, and just watching the other cats and the birds sort of come around. But he spends a lot of time sleeping on there as well. And then he's got this. I made we had a little scrap wood. I made like a tree house for him at the bottom of the garden. It's got like little platforms and rope on it, and it's the kind of thing you buy, I suppose, for houses. See people as well. I made this for outside, and it's got a little Eric's treehouse sign at the top. So he's got lots of little places to sleep and chill out, depending on what season of the year it is.
And people can see all of his adventures online.
Yes, so all these things have been captured online. Yeah, so Twitter and Instagram are the 2 platforms which we use. Eric's Escapades, Eric's _Escapades, I think it is, on both. He's got some, how would I describe him? Loyal fans. A lot of them interact with him every single day. This one who says, my day's not complete until I see Eric's post to see what he's up to, this kind of thing. So it's always important that as I'm having my breakfast in the morning, that I put a picture up of him to say what he's doing that day, or what he's doing the night before, or what have you. So yeah, it's one of those things that all these different places where he sleeps, they've all been sort of shared online, and people like to sort of see what he's doing, or where he's been sleeping, or what he's been up to. And he's had a couple of moments over the last 2 years where he's tested Helen's patience, I think, when Helen's been working at home and he's come in the house with a little bird in his mouth, or a mouse, which the mouse, I think mouse he let go of the mouse, and the mouse was running around the kitchen, and it bit Helen when she tried to pick the mouse up. But he hasn't brought home a lot of birds. Maybe he's 2 or 3, maybe he's 4 to push over the 2 years. I'm not sure what kind of ratio that is to other cats, but yeah.
Let's not tempt fate. Life is good at the moment.
I know, and I'm still waiting to come in. You never know. He could come in any moment now with a little bird in his mouth.
He's going to have to be quick, because I was about to say thank you for telling us Eric's tale. So Eric, no, he's not.
No.
Just have to follow that up online. But Paul, it sounds like the 3 of you have made an absolutely wonderful household full of love.
It is full of love, and it's nice. He's very well loved. When family members come round or friends, he's very sociable with those. And sometimes I think he's too sociable. Like, I don't like the idea of him, being outside and someone walks past and sort of pets him, and they could easily pick him up. It's a horrible thought to think about. Touch with that never ever happens, but he will go up to anyone if they give him a little bit of attention. He's a little bit of a attention whore, shall we say. He absolutely loves it. And we have neighbours who've took videos of him in their garden or pictures in their house and sent us those to say, look who's in my house, or look who's we've just seen type thing. But yeah, he's very popular and very, very friendly when people come out to see him as well. They're always mega keen to spend time with him.
Well, thank you very much for letting us spend time with his story, and we'll keep an eye from online. But Paul, it's been great to have you, Eric and Helen on the show.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much for having us. It's a shame Eric couldn't be here to share it, but I shall tell him all about the chat when he comes in.
And we will get him on a podcast habit soon enough.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
You've been listening to My Cat's Tale, a Spence Media production. Listen to more tales of our perfect pets at mycatstalepod.com and support us on Patreon.